When it comes to finding something that you're going to want to play and want to love playing, it's going to inspire you to play. I think that's the most important thing, an instrument that inspires you to want to pick it up and play it.
The mandolins are absolutely beautiful. It's made so little, everything's against it, but if you do it right, they work.
I think what draws people to the mandolin is that you can do things with the mandolin that you can't do with any other instrument.
It is a solo instrument. It's mostly played melodically. It's also used as a rhythm instrument in a bluegrass band.
Percussive, it can be funky, it can be soft, delicate, colorful.
Historically, there's been a void for many, many years when great instruments weren't available.
The beginning of the last century, there's some great instruments that, really stood out as being fine American-made instruments. And those are the instruments that we modeled ours after when we started making them.
Like anything else that Bill does, when Bill got into it, he's going to do it as well or better than anybody else.
I made the mandolins differently than I ever would have thought of making guitars. So it was really a challenge to me just to see if I could make it work and make them accurate.
So we took instruments from 100 years ago, 90 years ago, took these maps of them, and we used those to start carving plates. We built, 20 instruments to model ours after and establish the sound that we have.
Main sounds that you'd want to get out of a small instrument like a mandolin, you want it to sound woody. You don't want it to sound mechanical or stringy, but you want to have the wood sound come out.
It's about the sound of the instrument, but what produces the sound of the instrument is everything that goes into the quality.
How do we buy this wood? How do we carve it? How do we make a mandolin and make everyone sound the way we want?
We take the wood, we take great care of it. We buy it from wood freaks who are, they spend their time out in the woods trying to find special trees for instruments. They give it to us, we take great care of it, we store it for years. We'll join it together and carve it, and every single top and back winds up being a personal judgment.
Every piece of maple is different, every spruce top is different, so we've learned how to manipulate those woods to bring out the most tone.
Every single instrument is thicknessed and listened to, and thicknessed and listened to. Take a little bit more material off of here, leave more material here because you have to have weight to move the air.
We try to look at it somewhat scientifically, somewhat mathematically.
It's a really pretty instrument. I just love that about it. I love that aspect. I love the dynamics of the mandolin. I think it's one of the most dynamic instruments,
We essentially make two different styles of mandolins. We make an F-hole style mandolin and an oval hole style mandolin. Oval holes are X-braced, whereas the F-hole styles are called parallel tone bar bracing, more similar to a violin bracing, whereas the X-bracing is more similar to a guitar.
Aesthetically, they're amazing. This one's beat up a little bit because I've played it for about nearly 10 years now.
The mandolins just always have impeccably gorgeous wood, even from the start. They have these beautiful flamed or quilt maple backs, and the stains sets into the wood, and it really highlights those facets of the wood.
Say you have a shape, say it's a circle, that's the driving thing, then the inner shape follows it, and anywhere you look, it's got a curve.
This curve in the recurve an instrument, Bill can spot a good recurve from across the room where most people don't even notice it.
The main thing, almost more than the sound or the tone of the instrument, is the feel of it, the playability. If something doesn't feel good, you're just never going to want to pick it up.
That mandolin should feel like you just barely strum it and give you more than you're putting in. It just comes right off, not out of it, right off of it.
So when you pick up a good mandolin, you can feel the responsiveness of it, and you can feel before you play it that someone cared about the instrument.
They still take 8 hours to sand. Okay, so by hand, yeah. Some things you can't change.
They've done an amazing job, in my mind, of picking a sound that they want to go towards and figuring out how to work with the varying materials. They're able to put all those ideas together and through their skills create a consistency of instruments. So when somebody says, this is what my Collings mandolin sounds like, you go, oh, I can relate to that because there's a consistency through what they've been doing for many, many years.
Everything that happens in Collings is done around craftsmanship and quality. It's never been about numbers, it's always been about making the best instrument possible.
I just hope that the job that we do makes their playing effortless so they can just get to the business of letting their hearts out.
It wasn't like when I first saw my first guitar, I realized I was going to make guitars. I didn't even know people made guitars. I think the thing that got me, the thing that really haunted me, is why they sounded so different, why every guitar had its own charm or its own sound. And some guitars